Greetings, programs. Welcome to my show. Have you ever noticed that some games never get talked about until someone on YouTube says they're terrible, and then everyone else on YouTube follows suit and says the game is terrible even if they've never played it? What's up with that? I mean, are people really so afraid of thinking for themselves that they allow the internet to do all their thinking for them? Or, alternatively, are people so afraid of going against popular opinion, quote unquote, that they'll agree with whatever the internet says even if they really don't agree? Why? Why do people do that? For what purpose? Isn't it better to be honest about what you think so people know that you're not just a parrot? In that spirit, I'm going to list 3 games that are commonly thought of as bad, but which really aren't if you give them a fair chance. Number 1. Transformers: The Mystery of Convoy on the Famicom. Putting aside Level 9 because it really could have been designed better, it seems to me that the primary reason people bash this game is the difficulty. It certainly is a hard game, but if you think about it, the Famicom had plenty of games that were just as difficult, if not more so. Mega Man, for instance. Maybe it's just me, but when I tried that game, I couldn't make it past level 2, even after dozens of tries using an infinite lives code. Mega Man 2, while still very difficult, was noticeably less harsh, so it occurs to me that Capcom might have realized they'd gone too far with the first one and dialed it back intentionally for the sequels. So how come Mega Man is considered a classic and Transformers is considered terrible? What is so radically different about it? You tell me. Number 2. Virtual Hide-Glide for the Sega Saturn. The main complaint I hear about this one is the graphics. There's no denying it's not a very pretty game to look at, but graphics aren't everything. It helps if your game looks good, this is true, but I would argue that how a game plays is a lot more important than how it looks, and in that area, I think Virtual Hide-Glide succeeds. It's not the best game ever made, sure, but by the standards of the time it came out, it's a perfectly serviceable action RPG. That the map is randomized every time you start a new game is a fairly unique feature that you don't see too often in console games, especially not RPGs, and I would say that that feature alone makes it worth a look for fans of that particular genre. I would even go so far as to say that it's one of the Saturn's hidden gems as far as public perception is concerned. Number 3. Corpse Killer for the Sega CD and 32X. Now, I have to admit to a bit of personal bias on this one. I love cheesy B-movies, and I'm a big fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000, so this game is right up my alley. It's like the video game equivalent of a Roger Corman flick, and if you know who that is, the influence is obvious. It also seems very much like a prototypical Resident Evil with a similar kind of plot, except done as a first-person shooter instead of survival horror. That the gameplay is unrefined is understandable, because FMV shooting games were uncommon, even during the big craze of the early 90s, and I think this is one of the only ones, if not the only one, that actually attempted to have something resembling a real plot. This gives it a quirky charm all its own, and if you're a B-movie lover like I am, you should check it out and enjoy the awesome cheesiness of it. So what do you think? Am I wrong? Are these games really as bad as people say they are, or is that just a herd mentality? And what are some games that you like that people say are bad? What are your guilty pleasures? Drop me a line in the comments section and let me know, alright? Until next time.
Ikan Babian